Hello and welcome to the Cultured Bumpkin, you cultured bumpkins. On this episode, we're going to read The Lady of Shalott. Now, the first time that I ever was introduced to this poem was in the miniseries from the 80s, Anne of Green Gables, starring Megan Follows. And she, throughout the series, referenced or quoted or whatever several poems, and this was one of them. And, I fell in love with her, Prince Edward Island, fell in love with all kind of stuff. But this poem was one of the things. It's just, as she would say, terribly romantic. And I think it's a beautiful poem. Now, this past summer, I was at the Lamplighter Summer Guild up in Mount Morris, New York, and I was teaching voice acting. And I talked with an author named Dr. Daniel Schwabauer, who's just an awesome dude, but an incredible writer, author, and storyteller. And we were going to put on a poem. So we were talking about, as far as sort of a multimedia thing, we were going to do the music, do the sound effects live, and then read it live as sort of a performance in the evening. So we were talking about which one to do, and he said, let's do The Lady of Shalott, and we talked about it, and it was just a lot of fun. Now, one of the things that he said, it's kind of like if you're watching a football game, right? I'm a Mississippi State Bulldogs fan. That's a tough life, let me tell you, for football. But I could be sitting with my friend next to me that likes Ole Miss, our rival. Okay, we could watch the same play. Let's say Ole Miss scores a touchdown. Well, my reaction is, they scored a touchdown. Well, my friend's reaction would be, yay, they scored a touchdown. We saw the same thing, but our reaction is different. In this poem, this is a reaction which I think was observing the same thing that Thomas Hardy observes in Dover Beach, the poem Dover Beach. And that is a turning away from sort of morality, the Victorian prudishness and all that sort of thing. And I think that Tennyson looks at it with a little bit of sorrow. Like, look at this. We're turning away from, the things that made our country great, let's say, writing in the late 1800s in Great Britain. And then Thomas Hardy in Dover Beach, and you can read that or listen to it here on the podcast in another episode. He sees the same thing and says, yay, we're turning away from that old Bible and we're really coming into our own as a species and all that kind of stuff. It observes the same thing, and yet it manifests differently in the wording. So that's, kind of what The Lady of Shalott is about. It's, the lady locked in a tower, and then as she starts to look out, at first she's spinning, she's busy, she has her face turned away from the window, and then later on she starts to look toward Camelot, and then pretty soon she wants to go be a part of it, and by the time she gets there, she's dead. So a lot of symbology there. Anyway, a beautiful poem, and without further ado, let's get into it. Oh, and one more thing. On YouTube, I've posted it with original artwork from illustrator Brittany. She used to work for Disney, and she just drew me a picture as a thumbnail, and then I took it and just put the captions over it and stuff. It's beautiful, and you should really check it out on YouTube if you want to get the full visual experience of her art. I just think it's a beautiful little picture. Anyway, here we go. The Lady of Shalott by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Read by Jake Phillips. On either side the river lie long fields of barley and of rye that clothe the wold and meet the sky, and through the field the road runs by to many-towered Camelot. Up and down the people go, gazing where the lilies blow round an island there below, the island of Shalott. Willows whiten, aspens quiver, little breezes dusk and shiver through the wave that runs forever by the island in the river, flowing down to Camelot. 4 gray walls and 4 gray towers overlook a space of flowers, and the silent isle embowers the Lady of Shalott. By the margin, willow-veiled, slide the heavy barges trailed by slow horses, and unhailed the shallop flitteth silken-sailed, skimming down to Camelot. But who hath seen her wave her hand, or at the casement seen her stand? Or is she known in all the land, the Lady of Shalott? Only reapers, reaping early, in among the bearded barley, hear a song that echoes cheerly from the river winding clearly down to towered Camelot. And by the moon, the reaper weary, piling sheaves in uplands airy, listening whispers, "'Tis the fairy Lady of Shalott." There she weaves by night and day a magic web with colors gay. She has heard a whisper say, a curse is on her if she stay to look down to Camelot. She knows not what the curse may be, and so she weaveth steadily, and little other care hath she, the Lady of Shalott. And moving through a mirror clear that hangs before her all the year, shadows of the world appear. There she sees the highway near winding down to Camelot. There the river eddy whirls, and there the surly village churls and the red cloaks of market girls pass onward from Shalott. Sometimes a troop of damsels glad, an abbot on an ambling pad, sometimes a curly shepherd lad or long-haired page in crimson clad, goes by to towered Camelot. And sometimes through the mirror blue the knights come riding 2 and 2. She hath no loyal knight and true, the Lady of Shalott. But in her web she still delights to weave the mirror's magic sights, for often through the silent nights a funeral with plumes and lights and music went to Camelot. Or when the moon was overhead came 2 young lovers lately wed. I am half sick of shadows, said the Lady of Shalott. A bow shot from her bower eaves, he rode between the barley sheaves. The sun came dazzling through the leaves, and flamed upon the brazen greaves of bold Sir Lancelot. A red cross knight forever kneeled to a lady in his shield that sparkled on the yellow field beside remote Shalott. The gemmy bridle glittered free, like to some branch of stars we see hung in the golden galaxy. The bridle bells rang merrily as he rode down to Camelot, and from his blazoned baldric slung a mighty silver bugle hung, and as he rode his armor rung beside remote Shalott. All in the blue unclouded weather, thick jeweled shone the saddle leather, the helmet and the helmet feather burned like one burning flame together as he rode down to Camelot. As often through the purple night, below the starry clusters bright, some bearded meteor, trailing light, moves over still Shalott. His broad, clear brow in sunlight glowed, on burnished hooves his warhorse trode. From underneath his helmet flowed his coal-black curls as on he rode down to Camelot. From the bank and from the river he flashed into the crystal mirror. Tira-lira by the river, sang Sir Lancelot. She left the web, she left the loom, she made 3 paces through the room. She saw the water lily bloom, she saw the helmet and the plume. She looked down to Camelot. Out flew the web and floated wide. The mirror cracked from side to side. The curse has come upon me, cried the Lady of Shalott. In the stormy east wind straining, the pale yellow woods were waning. The the broad stream and his banks complaining heavily, the low sky raining over towered Camelot. Down she came and found a boat beneath a willow left afloat, and round about the prow she wrote, "The Lady of Shalott." And down the river's dim expanse, like some bold seer in a trance, seeing all his own mischance, with a glassy countenance did she look to Camelot. And at the closing of the day she loosed the chain, and down she lay. The broad stream bore her far away, the Lady of Shalott. Lying robed in snowy white, that loosely flew to left and right, the leaves upon her falling light, through the noises of the night, she floated down to Camelot. And as the boat head wound along, the willowy hills and fields among, they heard her singing her last song, the Lady of Shalott. Heard a carol, mournful, holy, chanted loudly, chanted lowly, till her blood was frozen slowly, and her eyes were darkened wholly, turned to towered Camelot. For ere she reached upon the tide the first house by the waterside, singing in her song she died, the Lady of Shalott. Under tower and balcony, by garden wall and gallery, a gleaming shape she floated by, dead pale between the houses high, silent into Camelot. Out upon the wharfs they came, knight and burgher, lord and dame, and round the prow they read her name, the Lady of Shalott. Who is this, and what is here? And in the lighted palace near died the sound of royal cheer, and they crossed themselves for fear, all the knights at Camelot. But Lancelot mused a little space. He said, "She has a lovely face. God in his mercy lend her grace, the Lady of Shalott." Wasn't that nice? I love that poem. Hey, thank you very much for listening, and don't forget, just because you're a bumpkin doesn't mean you can't be cultured. Thank you. I'll talk to you next time.